it works really well for them. So banning that out here, they have a specific composition already in mind.
I know that also when we look at this team right here, and we do have K-Cool in here. K-Cool, we talked about this guy as like a hyper-aggressive carry, very fundamentally sound player. But you know what impressed me is that he also seemed to be picking up these utility type heroes, playing Blackfeather kind of as a tanky frontliner, allowing his team to do a lot of work behind him.
Well, Mousesports, like, you know, we saw especially during the Winter Live Championships that these guys draft on the fly and they can make any type of gameplay style work. Just either grabbing a buff composition or grabbing like a specific composition directed at their opponents. For example, they did that Rome Taka going up against Saw, and this is excellent coordination coming out of their part. I do feel like Angry Pandas Black, like they're trying to jinx me today, or they're trying to just get me off my groove. Like, we don't see Tony Lu in this game, but this just comes to show like everybody on that roster has the potential to execute professionally in terms of making up, showing up on time, and just synergizing well with their teammates.
Yeah, I mean, definitely, as you said right there, I do agree. Fortress was the first pick. Now it's for Angry Pandas going to be the Arden with Vox. Pretty powerful combination right here. They do have a lot of control mobility in both of these heroes. Do you like the way this is playing out so far for Angry Pandas?
Well, we saw a lot of, especially last week with that Fortress pick coming out, a lot of teams have been playing Fortress, and it, you know, with Angry Pandas Black, they've found a very good counter for this. They got a lot of auto attacks coming out of Vox, and as long as Arden is able to get that Vanguard on top of him, he's able to kite very freely. But, you know, I think Great Khali picking up that Glaive once again, and this is one of his signature heroes. He knows exactly how to counterplay against that laning phase for Vox. So I do feel like they're going to have a lot of quick rotations coming up. They have to make the most use out of Fortress as possible.
Oh my goodness. Right now, I can't even wait for this game to get started, Rome. We have a Sky now. So we're going to have Fortress, Glaive, Sky. A very mobile team right here. The ability to get on top of you basically from any position. They'll be able to run away, disengage if needed. They've got a couple stuns. They've got peels. So I'm feeling a little scared for Angry Pandas right now. I think I'm preferring the Mousesports draft.
Well, the Mousesports, their composition is very strong into that early game. But you have to remember, Angry Pandas Black, they do have a very late scaling composition. They have picked up that Scarf. They have that that Vox especially. So hyper carrying. They know exactly what to do, and it's going to actually come up to Arden. I feel like if Arden isn't that pivotal player in terms of making sure his gauntlets are on point, that their team is going to suffer from that mid to late game.
Yeah, definitely. And we're going to see something funky. Scarf jungle here, maybe? Is that what your vote?
I do feel like going up against most likely Glaive up in that lane, or even a Sky perhaps, they'll probably get a better choice just executing with that Scarf in the lane, making sure that he has that range and he has that poke. So hopefully it'll work out either way, either or. But most likely we'll be seeing that Vox coming out of that jungle.
All right, guys, we'll keep your eyes on it. Let's see how it all plays out. With that, we've loaded into the fold. We'll toss it to our casters, Action Jackson and Vedius. Take it away.
And I tell you, we're really looking forward to getting this game started. Some awesome players in this matchup between Mousesports and Angry Pandas Black. Vedius, how you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic, my friend. Good to be covering the quarterfinals here for Europe, the pinnacle of Vainglory play. Figured we'd already start the debate early on in the day, as we are actually going to be seeing a Scarf in the jungle. So already, Rome is wrong. Obviously, we want to start as we mean to go on for the rest of the day. As, actually, Angry Panda's going to get spotted out by a flare.
That Toilet running in there, trying to set something up. But Mr. K-Cool didn't really want to go for the fight. Now Legendary's finding some nice return poke, but a good forward barrage out of Mr. K-Cool is stopping this trade from being entirely one-sided. Looks like the action is just going to get stemmed right off the bat, though.
It does seem that way. And this is something that we often see, especially in Europe, where both teams, they meet up in the shop, and if they get the opportunity, they're just going to force the fight. So always looking for that opportunity to gain those early advantages, but no advantages gained so far, so this gives us a great opportunity to talk about these compositions a little bit more. You heard Rome's thoughts, and now you're going to hear mine, because I actually quite like this Glaive-Vox matchup in favor of the Glaive. Just like Rome was saying, I think that the repositioning tools and the amount of damage that Glaive can put out actually puts quite a lot of pressure on this Vox, and he needs to be very wary of his positioning, because so many times we've seen Glaive set up some fantastic ganks in the early game. Speaking of ganks, Mr. K. Cool, I found Leia.
Wow, look at the early damage coming out of that forward barrage. Leia needs to be careful right now. He could go down as Great Khali jumps right in, picks up first blood for Mousesports, but look at the damage he's taken on the backside. Fan the Flames is going to find the return kill. Legendaries managing to make this an equal trade. Looks like everyone else just going to be disengaging for now, though.
So Leia not respecting the early damage from Mr. K Cool. And he was almost able to get away, but then Great Carly using that afterburn able to secure the kill. But Legendary's doing a great job picking up the return. Mousesports want to try and get some of the back camps. They need to be careful, though.
Oh, they pick them both up with that Surrey strike from Mr. K Cool, and Legendaries has already used the goop. Kind of low on the energy. Might be difficult for him to keep a chase going here, but he's starting to fan those flames onto Mr. K Cool. Try and put down the damage as Mousesports just retreats from the enemy jungle. They look like they're going to be relatively safe. Interestingly, right now, though, Scarface trying to seal away some of these camps. Doesn't look like anyone's going to spot him out. And actually, he didn't pick up the camp. He just gave up.
Wow. I guess he was really afraid of the positioning of Mousesports. He knew that both Mr. Keiko and Net Toilet were returning to their jungle, and he didn't want to get collapsed on by Great Carly and the jungle roam pair. So I respect that. You know, I think that it was the safe decision to make, but I think he could have picked that one up. Bit of a misplay coming out from Scarface. Very unfortunate that he wasn't able to pick anything up after Mousesports do such a great job of stealing away all of those camps. So advantage going over in favor of Mousesports, but in terms of the gold, you're not really seeing it.
Legendaries was forced to pop his boots right there just to get away from the forward barrage, Mr. K Cool. That's how much damage it does early on here. But we've got all three members of Angry Pandas Black trying to collapse down onto the jungle pair from Mousesports. Can they find anything here? That's the goop slowing up Mr. K Cool. But look at the return damage right onto Legendaries. Forward barrage really starting to deal a bit of pain here in this early game. We've got a rotation down out of Great Khali as well. Mousesports might try and turn this fight around as Leia jumps in. He's already burned that blood for blood. Scarface knocked right in, immediately goes down. Massive damage out of Mousesports in the early game. Leia being chased onto right now. The forward barrage finds it. Legendary is the last man standing for the Angry Pandas. He's going to have to play safe under that turret.
I feel like this was quite a big misplay coming out from Angry Pandas. They should realize that the composition coming out from Mousesports is very geared towards this early game. You have this Fortress, you have the Glaive, and the Sky, typically good at all stages of play, so you can't afford to be forcing these fights when you're running a Vox and a Scarf that really don't kick into gear until they've got those first major items. So I think it was a bit of an overextension. Angry Pandas trying to force something when they really weren't in a position to do so, and they end up getting punished for it. So now Mousesports have finally clawed themselves a pretty significant advantage.
They have indeed, sitting at 9.1k to the 7.4 of their opponent before even taking any gold mines. They might find Legendaries as well here, as that's jump forward from Net Toilet. He goes down right off the bat. Legendaries overextending just a little bit there. Great Khali, he's holding his own in the lane as well. So it's not as if, you know, we're seeing Angry Pandas really gain advantages anywhere on the map right now.
Nope. I can understand what Legendaries were trying to do. He realized that his jungle was being taken, so he wanted to try and do the same on the other side of the map. But the clear speed, when you have two members against one, and when it's a Sky up against a Scarf, you're just not going to be able to match that sort of pressure. And right now, Legendaries is just getting everything taken away from him. Just look at the CS difference. But Mr. K-Cool, he wants to stick around.
He needs to be careful here. We've got three members from Angry Pandas trying to collapse onto him. Already can see Mr. Keiko is taking a decent chunk of damage. Net Toilet as well. A little bit bruised after that exchange, but you can see Mousesports now has Great Khali backing them up. They might try and run away. Actually, Great Khali, look at the burst damage coming down on the Legendaries. He wants to find himself a 1 versus 3 kill, but can't quite do it. And now Mr. K Cool going on to Scarface, putting down the hurt. Doesn't land a lot of that forward barrage, though, so he's not going to find the kill. Legendaries, he's going to have to run away. Big fight win, even though it started off so poorly for Mousesports in their favor.
Yeah, Mousesports overextending in the enemy jungle. Yes, they're able to steal away those back camps, but they try to, they just overextended. It's a 2 versus 3 in favor of Angry Pandas, so they see this as an opportunity to force a fight. Great death from above forces Angry Pandas to back away, but then once Great Khali joins the fight, you think, oh, maybe they go for the 3v3, maybe they disengage. They have both options. Great Khali doesn't even use his ultimate and is pretty much able to take out Legendaries by himself. And if Great Khali is free to do this in the future, I am very worried for this backline that Angry Pandas have.
Great Kali is just a nuclear missile right now. You launch him onto the back line with that afterburn and take someone out. Doesn't really matter who. I'm pretty sure anyone would die to that damage at this point. Really going to be up to Angry Pandas to try and find a way of securing, not necessarily a lead, but at least maintaining their current situation a little bit more as we move forward. Net Toilette trying to start something off here. Can't quite close the gap. None of his teammates are really there, but the gold lead, want to touch on this again, still extending in favor of Mousesports. They're in a great position right now as Mr. K Cool continues to steal away these back camps. Angry Pandas struggling to find any opportunities, but they might have found one now. Net Toilette, got to be careful here, but he's got the boots. He's going to be able to get away. Big scout trap actually lands down onto Legendaries as Great Kali wants to turn it around onto Scarface. Why are you trying to pick a fight right now? Mousesports find the first kill. Great Kali wants more. Net Toilette's low. He might trade his life for this kill, but he's got a fountain. He's going to be healing up. Great Kali, he's on Legendaries. It's the ace coming through at just shy of 8 minutes for Mousesports. These guys are on fire.
A Sorrow Blade Glaive at 8 minutes into the game. You cannot afford to go for the 2 versus 2, especially when you're playing a Vox that has only completed that Aftershock. It's just, that was just straight up a bad decision from Angry Pandas. You cannot fight in that situation. You needed to use your numbers advantage to kill Great Kali, which you didn't have. You were in a 2 versus 2. Great Kali was level 8 to the level 7 of Scarface and level 5 of Leia, so there was no even gauntlet available, and it was just decimation from Great Kali. And Mousesports, they just want to keep this decimation up.
They do indeed as they go for another invade. The Ford Barrage goes backwards, but Leia is going to go down from depth to above. Now Mr. K Cool jumps. What happened to Legendary's health? Holy moly. Mr. K Cool does have to be careful here, though. That's a lot of damage. He certainly strikes on the foot.
My word.
Oh, he trades kills. How did that happen? How did he not go down before getting the return there? I cannot believe it.
Oh my word.
Mousesports are so far ahead right now.
Mr. K Cool with the triple kill on Sky. He's completed the Frostburn, makes it so much easier to stick onto those targets as they're running away. But on top of that, he's just now completed his Broken Myth. He had that penetration, but he didn't care. It didn't matter. His positioning was fantastic. He was landing every single ability, and that was the key reason as to why he was able to come out ahead. And on top of that, look at the items coming out from the side of Angry Pandas. They have no defensive items whatsoever. There is absolutely no shield there to mitigate any of the damage coming out from this overfed Sky. And it's making their life so difficult, which it's just allowing Mr. K Cool to take everything. And if you just look at the CS discrepancies, you can see how long he's been doing it for.
Oh, absolutely. Legendary sitting at 29 farm at almost 10 minutes. That is so low, especially when you see Mr. K Cool sitting at 72 right now. Legendaries really struggling, does not even have one completed tier 3 item at this point. This is a very dicey position for the Angry Pandas. If they can survive long enough, they do have a composition that's good in the late game. I'm just not sure they can. Look at the damage on the Legendary. Surrey strike forward. Mr. K Cool wants to keep this fight going. That's going to be the gauntlet going down. Leia trying to buy some time. Mr. K Cool does have to be careful right now. He's going to back away, though, and wait for it, does not connect. So Mr. K Cool is able to escape. Got some regeneration there from the fountain. Might go back in once he has cooldowns yet again. Legendary's taking so much damage, even though he is able to get some return onto Mr. K Cool. But look at that, Leia! Every single tick of that forward barrage is dealing like a tenth of Leia's health. That is insane. That is just complete ridiculousness.
Well, this is what happens when you're starved of gold and you can't afford anything. And when the Broken Myth and Frostburn are both completed for Mr. K Cool, he just packs a pretty powerful punch. And the thing for me is, I want to go back to what Rome was saying. Oh, hang on a second, Scarface, he's been caught out.
Oh, look at every single attack from Great Kali as well. Scarface in a very dicey position. He does have the ability to jump back many, many times, though. Unfortunately for Great Kali, Afterburn not coming back off cooldown fast enough. Looks like Scarface is going to be able to get away for now, but certainly he's hurting a little bit after that exchange.
So, Leia, he's been caught out.
Oh, look at the damage, but Great Kali wants a different priority target, trying to go onto Legendaries right now. The silence coming out from Starface does buy some time, but Mr. K Cool, he jumps back in, finds another 2 kills onto Great Kali. Another ace coming forward. No one dies for Mousesports. This is getting out of hand. I don't see an easy way back into this game for anyone on the side of Angry Pandas.
Nope, Mousesports looking so dominant right now. They were forcing fights in the early game, and they built up that early advantage to a point where now Angry Pandas just cannot fight Mousesports because they have too much damage. There is not enough defensive itemization coming out from the side of Angry Pandas, and it's just Mousesports shredding through that lineup. And not only that, you have to remember how this composition from Angry Pandas is supposed to work. It scales. It takes a while to ramp up. You need to spend your early game farming to reach those tier 3 items at the mid game. You're reliant on this mid to late scaling sort of style of play where you have the Vox, you have the Scarf that can do insane damage later on, but on top of that, it's this Arden using his gauntlet to separate Mousesports. They need to be split up so that you can just focus one target at a time, and we've only seen one gauntlet this entire game because of how far behind Leia has been. He has not had that opportunity, and I don't know at this point if he's going to be able to get that opportunity.
Well, we'll see if he can find a good one right now as Scarface gets engaged on. Great Kali pops him right off the bat. Leia does buy some time with the gauntlet, but I'm not sure it's going to be enough. Mousesports continuing the collapse. Leia knocked back into the team. This is not PG. Mousesports 15 kills to 2 and 10,000 gold in the lead.
13 minutes in, they are looking to try and close out this first game of this first quarterfinal match as Great Kali cleans up that very easy kill onto Legendaries. I don't know if Angry Pandas can stop this final push.
I think it's very unlikely. Scarface just doesn't have the damage right now. Great Kali is fairly low, but look at this. Mr. K Cool getting tons of damage down with those forward barrages. He's just trying to make space for his team. Leia almost dies in the duration of one forward barrage. Great Kali, he's healed up a little bit. He wants more fights. Leia just barely able to get back onto the platform. That's going to be the Dragon's Breath. It is doing some good damage onto Great Kali, but they haven't found the kill just yet. The Vein Crystal is going down. Leia falls. Mr. K Cool picks up the crystal. Game 1 in commanding fashion. Less than 14 minutes in, goes the way of Mousesports.
And this is the Mousesports that we were expecting last week. They didn't show up in Game 1, but this week they have come to play and they want to show why they are a top 4 contender here in Europe. What a dominant performance. They executed their composition perfectly, and what I loved about this game was how Mr. K Cool, the moment he had even the slightest advantage, continued to push it. He was always in the enemy jungle, denying legendaries as much as humanly possible, and this is something that we're not really used to seeing in Europe. Usually, we're more geared towards the mid to late game. We're not about that early game. We're not about using those early advantages to snowball in the early stages of play, and that is exactly what Mr. K Cool did. He knew he had the superior 1v1 and the 2v2, and they took advantage of that. And I was really impressed with this play from Mousesports, and it's going to take a lot for Angry Pandas to come back in Game 2.
It absolutely is. They're going to need to seriously rethink their draft and how they use it. You can't be picking the kinds of fights that they were in the early game against the composition Mousesports were running. But I'm not the analyst here, guys. That honor goes to Humanist and Rome. Let's pass it back to them so they can break down that game and give us an idea of what to expect moving forwards.